Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Tomando Café con Jesús Hoyos. Hoy traje mi cafecito colombiano, comprado en el supermercado. No sé qué marca es, solo sabe la esposa mía. Pero ya saben, estamos regresando todos los viernes con Tomando Café y esto es una edición especial porque tenemos hoy al Chief Strategy Officer de Zoho. Ya mismo va a hacer las introducciones y todo y ya voy a cambiar al inglés. Ya saben, estamos en LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook y en todas las redes sociales y eventualmente esto va a estar disponible pues ¿dónde va a estar disponible? En los podcasts, ¿ok? Y como todo, aquí que viene, supuestamente me está diciendo que tiene problema LinkedIn en poner el live stream. Si eso es verdad y me está pasando, bueno, luego lo posteamos en LinkedIn. So let me switch now to English. This is Tomando Café, drinking coffee with Jesus Hoyos. Today, it's a special edition where, we're going to bring, executives and VPs from each of the vendors. And I want to thank Raju for, being here. Of course, I'm going to let Raju do the introduction soon. But Tatiana is here. She's going to be behind the scenes helping us with, with production, comments, posting, any messages and everything. So feel free to leave comments. And here's the disclaimer. According to StreamYard, they're telling me there is an issue with LinkedIn. If we are not for whatever reason live in LinkedIn, don't worry. We're gonna post days after we're done in case that we have issues. So, Tatiana Alvarez, before you go, are you drinking coffee?
Hi, Jesus. Yes, of course, I'm drinking Colombian coffee for sure. So welcome and welcome, Rahul, sorry, to this show.
No problem.
Thank you, Tatiana. Looking forward to this.
Okay, Tatiana, I'll see you like in 40 minutes, okay?
Bye.
Perfect. Welcome to 2022.
Thank you, Jesus. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Can you tell everybody who you are?
Yeah, I'm Raju Vegesna. I take care of a few things, and including the Latin American operations for Zoho. And in the company, we don't pay too much attention to titles, so whatever it needs, so whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've been with the company 20 plus years, and we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, and you're doing a lot. So before we start talking about everything that you're doing, and the stuff that officially you can tell us, are you drinking coffee today? Tea? Are you a tea coffee
Just
person?
done. No, I'm a coffee person, and as Tatiana was saying, I love the Colombian coffee. So I'm actually a Colombian coffee person myself.
Perfect. Yeah, this is like I don't know my 20th cup today, and I'm addicted to coffee. And this is what you know, we've been in many events and everything. And one of the things that I learned from you, you want to talk, let's take a walk. You
Yep.
know, so I like to take a walk with coffee or take a walk to get the coffee and then come back and then that's it. That's the meeting. You
Yeah.
know, so
Uh,
that's the meeting.
we do the same too. We call these walk and talk sessions. That's my preferred format too.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. Unfortunately, because of COVID, now we cannot do it. It's Zoom and talk, or whatever is the video you're using. Everything is remote. But hopefully sooner, very soon we can come back to that. To the walk and talk.
Really,
So
really
go
looking
ahead.
forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Raju, last year, you guys, grew, and you guys were very active in Latin America. And like you said, you take care of the Latin operations. And a disclaimer, last year, I as part of being an influencer with you guys and analysts, we schedule a series of live streams with you guys, and we did some white papers and seminars and everything. And at the same time, we use Soho as well, and we implement Soho. That's the Solvi side, and plus we do other vendors as well. but we're learning the stuff that you have, and keeping track of what you guys are doing in Latin America. Could you explain a little bit of your philosophy, of being local, focus on the community, and everything that you guys are doing, the footprint that you guys putting into place in Latin America?
Yeah, I think it's tough to explain that in 1 minute, but in general, we see Latin America as an important market, and there is a growing market. As a company headquartered in India, there are a lot of similarities between Latin America and India. Similar cultures, that's an important part. Similar demographics, 29, 30, median age demographics and whatnot. Similarly, growing set of countries. And more broadly, there is an upside. There is an upside, meaning if you look at Latin America, population-wise, Latin America has about 8% of global population. But if you look at GDP contribution, you're looking at maybe 5.5, 6. That means there's a lot of upside. I am bullish on the Latin American market where, if you double, there's still going to be a lot of upside. So, we see Latin America in a similar state as in India, which means we're going to invest a lot. And we have been investing a lot. Last time we met, I think maybe a couple of years back, pre-COVID, right? I think it was
pre-COVID.
2020. We had about 20 people in our Mexico office. Now we have 80 people during COVID. That's a 4x growth during COVID. Last time we spoke, we did not have an office in Colombia. Now we do, and we're expanding there. And second half of this year, we'll be able to expand there. I guess one of the side benefit of it is we can get some good coffee beans from Colombia directly.
Exactly. That's true. But when you say Mexico and Colombia, you are not, you're opening offices not in Bogota, not in Mexico City. You're in the small towns, little places, no?
Second tier towns and things. Generally, what we like is, companies tend to set up their businesses in big cities and whatnot. So that pulls people out of their hometowns, leaving their family. They travel to these big towns and then settle there. We generally don't like that approach. In Mexico, for example, we have an office in Querétaro. And in the future we'll have offices in a couple of locations outside of Querétaro. We follow a hub and spoke model, so Querétaro will be a hub, and then there will be a spokes, which means we'll have smaller office in nearby places like Zipaquira or San Juan and what the surrounding places out there. The same way. In Colombia. In Colombia, we are doing it in Chia. Chia is where we'll have our main office. Actually, and Zipaquira is in Colombia. Actually, in Mexico, it's going to be in Tequisquiapan. So like that, we pick a hub, and Chia is going to be the hub, and then Zipaquira and a few of those will be our eventual folks. But there's a long way to go. But that's our philosophy.
They're inviting you to visit Mérida and Yucatan.
Yeah, we have to eventually.
So it's funny because you mentioned Chia. Tatiana is from Chia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, actually, from our sister division, Manage Engine, we have 15 employees in Colombia already. On the Zoho side, we are expanding. So Chia is going to be our hub in Colombia.
Perfect. It's an interesting approach, because everybody's focusing on the big cities, and this is something that already been mentioned, but I want to reinforce the message, that your main focus is to be local, and sometimes being in a big city, you are not local, you are just to that city.
Yeah, and end of the day, what are you doing? Are you as a company taking advantage of the talent, or are you contributing back to the community, the local whatnot, right? In other words, if you're part of a community, are you a liability or are you an asset? That's an important question to ask. We want to be an asset to a community. That's why, we generally don't go to a city and say, hey, we want some property taxes cuts and some incentives and whatnot. We don't do that. We want to be an asset to a community, not a liability. An asset meaning training the local talent, improving the productivity of the local talent, and and contributing back to the community. Those are all various aspects to what we do. It's a holistic approach to it. As a private company, we have the freedom to go that route.
Yeah, and this is something that I mentioned before, and I do remember a couple of years ago when you guys put, a map of your Soho offices, and yeah, you have, your main offices in the United States, and then you have a bunch of logos, everywhere. And I went, wow, hold on, this is unique, because that's when I realized, Soho is a company who's coming from outside the United States with understanding the nuances and the peculiarities of Latin America and other countries, and the approach is totally different, from that point of view. And I think that's very, very unique from you guys, and maintaining, like you said, when you go in, you're an asset, you're no liability, and I think that's refreshing. That's extremely refreshing too.
And when you typically in this, more broadly, what you see is companies coming in, setting up in a market, trying to make a profit in that market, and shoving the profits back to wherever their headquarters is. How about a newer model where you invest back into the local community, you invest back in developing the market, developing the community, developing the employees' productivity and whatnot. So that's, I think, long term, we believe that is the right approach.
Yeah, I've been told that I have an echo. I don't know. Do you hear echo from my side?
No, not my
No?
side.
Okay. Yeah, I hear something, but I don't know. But I have all the windows closed, so hopefully that goes away. So I saw, last year, through the briefings and that I had with you guys, and of course being a user and following everything that you do, because we have to keep up with everything you guys do. Last year you have Soho CRM Canva, which is a new look and feel that you can apply to Soho CRM. You have, you added like 4 or 5 different applications and services to Zoho One. Introduce a few things with Zoho Creator. Lately, Zoho Workplace is taking, I don't want to say exponential, but it's growing a lot, and of course, you came up with something, some sort of a Zoho for families, and there's a bunch of other stuff that you've been doing, what can you tell of what happened in 2021, and how you're moving towards 2022?
If you ask me to recap every single release that was done in 2021, I won't be able to do it. Frankly, at some point you lose track of, because so many things are happening. Late last year we were looking at the list of things that happened, and then question: is this really last year? It feels like a long time ago.
A long time ago.
But we've been pretty productive, and there are, as you said, 4 or 5 new applications that were launched. But it is not always the new applications, it is the enhancements to existing applications that make a huge deal. And a lot of our applications did go through these things. As you rightly said, Canvas in Zoho CRM is a completely new way to customize the CRM. Zoho One, we took an important step towards the final direction that we want to go. Like Zoho One, it started as a bundle of individual applications. Now Zoho One is moving towards itself being a product. So Zoho One as one is the direction it's going. That involves a lot of other things, and we have taken a good positive step in that direction. So, and there are a ton of subtleties in each of these. Similarly, recently Zoho Workplace went through a few things where we added a ton of things and privacy centric model and whatnot. But in general, these are all common things. A good way to look at it is every year we kept on adding 3 or 4 apps at a minimum, and that's how you get to 50 plus apps in the last 15 years or so. And we'll keep going. If you say how many apps will we have 5 years from now, I will not have an answer. In fact, 3 years from now, I will not have an answer. But one thing for sure, we'll keep adding and we'll keep improving our existing apps.
So, we have a question here is, what is your strategy after the pandemic? And, I saw that process, but, and probably, let me rephrase the question. What is your strategy during the pandemic? Because it's still going on. And how you guys adapted, how you guys, came up with solutions, because you guys work quickly to do stuff for the schools, a bunch of stuff you guys did. Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. The first thing is one, Zoho runs on Zoho. We run our entire business on Zoho. The moment we decided we're going to go work from home, it took us maybe 3 or 4 days to completely go work from home. That's it. So that was a big change, and it happened right away. From then on, it was adapting to various changes that are coming, adapting to people having to take time off during, because they were affected by COVID, and working from home and various other things. Actually, for us, working from home became pretty easy because the tools were already there. Now it's all about psychological adjustment, working and hiring, because hiring, how do we hire and how do we onboard? Prior to the pandemic, our entire onboarding and training is learn on the job, seeing the person sitting next to you and learning from them. So our entire onboarding used to be maybe 4 or 5 hours. Now it's more like 4 or 5 weeks. We had to make a significant effort. So those are all various changes that happen. What we noticed is the personal productivity significantly went up. I became a lot more productive because I'm not on a flight every week, right? And I'm spending time in front of the computer. But collaborative productivity went down. The casual discussions you have, the casual influence, the grooming you do with some of the new employees, this time you spend with the team. You cannot put a value or a productivity score on it. I consider that equally important, as equal as a personal productivity. So when we go back to in-person, I expect the individual productivity to go down, but I do expect the collaborative productivity and other unmeasurable aspects like culture, the team bonding, those are equally important. I expect those to go up.
Yeah, let me tell you a story here. I did a webinar in Spanish for Emeritus University in Mexico, probably 30, 60 days, right after the pandemic. And it was about, everybody was talking, remote working. And, at Solvis, we've been doing remote working for many years, everybody's remote. And like any typical, small business or enterprise, we have Asana, we have Google, we have a Slack. I don't know, I lost count. I think we had like 30 different applications. Okay, so when we started looking into making the change, we started, implementing Zoho One. And we started with Zoho projects, Zoho Agile. Then we look at the different other applications, and when we started to looking back, and your integration that is already you have with Office, it turned out to be a collaborative tool. So the webinar was about that, how we move, for using all these different tools and connections, and everything get lost and everything to go. And it was easy, but we had resistance at the same time. But it's still, it wasn't working remotely. It's, the collaboration that we have as we work together. And I want to make that point because, Zoho One, the way I see it, as a customer engagement ecosystem, which also could be your operation, your system for the whole operation of your system of your company. I see it as a collaboration tool.
Yeah.
Because the connectivity that you have between the applications give you quick access of the small data, understand the small data quickly, be able to do things quickly, making sense, and that will help you collaborate versus sending that to another application to do analytics or export to Excel or PowerPoint and so on, or have 200 applications to integrate to one CRM. It becomes cumbersome, and that simplicity helps a lot. So that's how I see Zoho One
Totally.
as overall.
Totally. I think the way we see it is, a culture of a company will force to adapt, will define how a company adopts software, and then software tweaks the culture further. So it works hand in hand. If you have an open culture in the company to adopt a tool, your culture will shape the tool, but then the tool will in turn shape the culture. And it is a recurring cycle. And we see it all the time where sometimes your marketing department doesn't talk to your sales department, or sales department doesn't talk to your customer support department. And if you look underneath, in a lot of cases, it is like that because the software also doesn't talk to each other. So in other words, people don't collaborate because software doesn't collaborate. That happens a lot. So in a lot of cases, if the underlying software is knit together, it's on the same foundation, then the company and the people and the collaboration you're talking about will be on the same foundation.
Well, let me tell you a real experience, because this is what we're seeing as a trend. It doesn't matter with software, but we know that we can do it with Zoho One. And this is a real case scenario that we're doing in the service side. Okay, going to how the data is going from one place to another, and the software is talking, so people understand the data. So with Zoho One, we're able to integrate ad tech with martech with CRM. What that means? Okay, that means that you can bring the marketing agency, okay, set up the UTM codes, set up the campaign IDs, set up the Facebook connection with Zoho Social into the CRM, not only with the UTMs and the fields from the form, but the data, the advertising data values, okay? And if one of those is the Facebook ad set, then the segment and the lookalikes or the custom audience, okay? The same we do that with Google AdWords. You have a native integration, and through landing pages or through forms, Google extensions or LinkedIn now, I can bring that data. So you take that data and then you push it to the opportunity. Okay. And then by the time that you push the data to the opportunity, you do all your emails, your WhatsApp, your scoring, your nurturing, your journeys, whatever you need to do. That will be the marketing part of it. Mm-hmm. But then you start listening all those signals, open emails, phone calls, WhatsApp, and all within the CRM system, connected. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is something that I sometimes I forget to mention. It's not integration; they're connected. Connected. And then that's very simple. You create a view, at the opportunity level, or if you're doing e-commerce, you can do that as well with e-commerce. Mm-hmm. But you can see the data right there. You can see, how is the performance of that inbound marketing campaign, that blog with the UTMs, with the Facebook data, with the Google data. You can make decision. You know what? That ad spend that I'm doing on Facebook, we need to just increase it because we're getting some really good qualified leads. That inbound marketing that we're doing with the blog, we need to change it. It's not giving us traffic. You don't have to wait, for the agency to give you the presentation, and do it. And the funny part, not only people understand the data, people start, doing the drill downs. Mm-hmm. I have, customers that the agencies logging into, and they do create their own marketing reports based on the ad spend on Facebook. And there's like, voila. And then you see marketing operations and you see sales operations or revenue operations talking to each other because they see
And
the
if
same
you
data.
and if you go one step further, and that is where going where tie it with your back office system, like an accounting system, you know how much you spent, you know how much you made, and all of those will tie in, and it keeps going, and the paths that customer comes in is varies, but these are critical. Every business has customers, every business has employees, partners, suppliers. How do all of these connect with each other? Connect
Yeah,
is
and
the
that
keyword.
connect is the keyword. So saying that, uh, how you guys are doing with Soho Creator, because Soho Creator is unique. Is included, but also is a solution that you can build applications, low code, no code applications. Okay, and you can create a business model with that. On in one of the live streams that I have to, with you guys from Mexico in Querétaro, they were explaining this pizza place that created delivery application during the pandemic for with Soho Creator, and the revenue was coming to him, not to Uber. So how you see that low code, no code, because you're getting good reviews, you are now in all those quadrants and everything. How you see that growth with Soho Creator as a tool, for low code, no code?
In the next couple of months, we have a major release coming for Zoho Creator, where it's going to take another level. Number one, Creator is popular as is, where we have about 5 million applications created on the platform.
5 million?
Yeah, a little over 5 million, but let's just say 5 million.
Wow.
And it is doing really well. A lot of interesting use cases that are very, very unique, and it meets the needs. What we are doing is now taking it another step. One, the low code, no code part, no code part will keep getting better. No code part will also keep getting better. Then there is a pro code part through our Catalyst is being integrated, which means if you're a professional developer, you may have written some scripts on Python and you may be hosting on AWS. Well, you can bring it over and post it on Catalyst and integrate that into your application, like your low code application, which is anyway in turn integrated with your business applications and whatnot. So let's say you create that custom application. Within Zoho One, you can treat that custom application as a first-class citizen, which means you can deploy it, you can provision it, you can give permissions, and it'll show up in the sidebar, and then you can use it like any other first-class application that you see. So these are all changes that are going on. And of course, on top of it, mobile application creation is something that is possible using Creator. Create a mobile app, put it in App Store, or you can provision it onto your device. Now Zoho One has MDM. You can use our MDM capability to push it to various
mobile device management, no?
Mobile device management, mobile application management, and pushing applications to mobile devices. And all of these things are possible today, for the most part, and we keep enhancing that part in Creator.
That's at these small businesses, at these enterprises, all the above,
all of the above. I mean, we are talking about big businesses, all the companies. I know, like for example, a company like Nike uses. There's a company like Tesla, a company like HP. They're all using Creator in interesting ways. Now, they may not know that they are using Creator in a lot of cases. Their IT department may pick it and say create an application, completely rebrand it and launch it internally. So the end users may not know they are really using it. At the back end, it is really powered by Creator.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I learned last time I talked to you guys from Mexico, because I didn't know that. It's a you can download it from Apple and Google Play. So you have 50 plus applications, no? And I'm gonna put this comment here from Maria de Rocio, that she's inviting you to go to Yucatan. She's a Soho user, And I know as a fact that they use Zoho One with many of the other applications, connecting the data. And they're thankful, for using the application. However, seeing that, and trying to understand, how things work, how is the focus in Soho One versus, for example, the traditional person that wants to buy just the service or the CRM, and they move to Soho CRM Plus and then to Soho One. And Soho One, they use probably 5 tools, and then they're trying to move forward. Is that all over the place? There's a path. Are people going directly to Soho One or Soho CRM and then Soho One? How do you see that?
Within Zoho One, Zoho CRM is our most popular application. So, and by far, and that is the most popular application. And then other trends vary by region. In some regions, Zoho Books is very popular. Some regions, Zoho Analytics. Analytics is another very extremely popular application throughout. Zoho Workplace, Mail, and all of that are used in, for example, in Latin America, Zoho Workplace is extremely popular along with Mail. So it varies by region, but the beauty is the average number of applications used in Zoho One is about 19. That's a significant number if you think about it. So which means these companies are avoiding going to 19 different vendors, signing 19 different contracts and subscriptions and whatnot, and worrying about integrating 19 different applications. They are just under a single sign-on, they're getting 19 different apps. But the beauty is that for the most part, 80% of those 19 apps varies from customer to customer. And that's the beauty of Zoho One. Like they say, right, if you take something like Microsoft Office, 80% of the usage is the same thing we use to create a document. The other 20% varies from person to person. The same way, you have the basic customer management, accounting, collaboration, and then the other applications they use over a period of time varies from company to company.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm gonna post this after we're done with the live stream, because I did a white paper. How Zoho One replaces all the MarTech applications out there, and from the customer engagement, it will be the same thing. Adding everything that you do for customer service, and onboarding, upselling, cross-selling, the whole e-commerce and subscriptions, all the back office, But I'm thinking out loud. I know that we have, if we want to keep track of advertising and social media, we use Soho Social, Soho landing pages, which is in beta, but it works okay. Then you have Soho Site, which is the website. I'm doing my own inventory here. So we have 3 or 4 applications in there. Soho CRM, Soho Campaigns, Soho Forms to manage student applications, Soho Bookings to manage the meetings, Soho Webinar, Soho Meetings to, so you don't have to use Zoom or WebEx. So right there,
Social.
around 10, social. Then, Soho Analytics. And then we have the connector with Twilio. So right there it's like 12, So
And
now I need to catch up to 19,
Yeah, I mean, right there you have all of those connections. Now add something like Zoho Voice in there for your telephony system, and add a few additional things. Once these are connected, the same information is available to your sales team, your customer support team, your finance team, your HR team. Doesn't matter. I think that is where the beauty is.
So let me go back to Maria here. She's on fire. She's putting a lot of comments in here. Sometimes and going back to what you mentioned about being from India and going after the Latin market. Sometimes when the traditional vendor who's building software in the United States, those are best practices and standards for the United States and other countries. But whenever you bring that to the reality of Latin America, sometimes that doesn't even fit to the budgets and the necessities of a enterprise to begin with. But then the reality is that we have micro and small, medium-sized companies that could be any company in Latin America, and you guys, you guys have a fit for that. But at the same time, you guys have a fit to go after, the enterprise as well.
Totally. I think that's an very important aspect, Jesus, which is the economics matter as much as the technology. And then there is a philosophy. So as I often say, we are at the intersection of technology, economics, and philosophy. But the economics are such an important part. In US, for example, majority of technology companies are created in US, where the per capita GDP is, say, one of the highest, right? $65,000. But that is not the case in Latin America, where, let's say, an average per capita could be around, say, $10,000. In India, it is $2,000. If we are able to serve the Indian customer and be profitable, we'll be able to serve the Latin American customer, the African customer, the US customer, and bring those prices to global. The reverse is not possible. Reverse meaning, if you price, let's say, your software at $100 a month, can you make a profit at $10 a month? But if you create a software and make a profit at $10 a month, then you'll still be profitable selling it at $100 a month. But that is the model, and that economics is an extremely important point. And we understand those economics. We know we can charge maybe 3, 4, 5 times the price we charge for Zoho One. But the problem, if we start doing it, is our expenses will automatically go up, operations will automatically go up. We will be able to serve the customers today, but will we be able to serve the customers 10, 20 years from now, like from a Nigeria, which is going to come up with a median age of 19 and still make a profit? That's where economics play a significant role in this, and we pay very close attention to that.
This is something for me that I'm very critical to the other software vendors, and whoever is listening to us, go back, whatever 5 minutes and listen again to what Raju is saying, because it's extremely important. Because that economic model, when you build a tool in the United States, that's the economic model, and then you try to translate that into Latin America, and then you start going into different edition of the software, discounts, trying to figure out and match the local currency, and then what you're selling doesn't match, and this is something that sometimes bothers me, that when companies are doing product management, they don't have the right people in building those products. And I know as a fact that you guys have Spanish speaking people working with, for example, with SIA, which is your AI, to make sure that you have all that in place. So that's the inclusion that you have in there. I think is really important, and I think the company need to understand that. I mean,
absolutely, the economics are extremely important. Last year in 2021, to give you a different example in a different industry, GM and quit Indian market. A few years before that, Ford quit Indian market because Ford couldn't figure out how to make money in Indian market. And that is likely the case in various other markets out there. But it is easy for a country or a company that gets the economics right for a developing country like Hyundai or Kia or Honda or some of the Japanese companies to serve some of the richer countries, developed countries. It becomes easy to go up, but coming down, serving a country with low per capita GDP becomes a challenge. And across industries, that is true.
Yeah, you know what, and this could be another topic someday. I don't like to use the term developing countries or emerging countries. I think it's the traditional emerging countries that are doing some cool stuff with technology, And we can see that with India, we can see that with Brazil, we can see that with Mexico, all the fintechs and all the unicorns that we see in the region, that you don't see those in the United States. You can count them, but in the rest of the world, there's plenty of those, plenty of those.
Baggage.
Yeah.
Baggage. They
Yeah.
have a lot of baggage.
Yeah, they do. So we have another like 5 minutes, and and let me see, let me go back to the comment. I think it's Adriana. Okay, like I told you, man, she's a super user of Zoho, and I'm about to ask you these questions anyway, and feel free to say whatever you can say or whatever you cannot say, So I know you have Zoho campaigns, and to make sure people understand, Zoho campaign is the email marketing tool, tightly integrated, and you guys came up with a new integration early this year or late last year. You have Zoho Marketing. Okay, there used to be Hub. Now it's Zoho Marketing Hub, and then you have a bunch of other things that I still believe are part of the MarTech. So how you see that roadmap of your marketing tools and the CRM?
If you look at the strategy here, we want to offer a tool for every marketing channel. That's the key. For every marketing channel, we want to offer a dedicated deep tool. Website is a marketing channel, so we offer Zoho sites. Social media, YouTube to Facebook, Twitter. So that's why Zoho Social exists. Pinterest. We recently added Pinterest on that, right? So that's and then others like WhatsApp are all coming. So that's an important one, those social media. And then there are other aspects like events, whether it is a webinar or a physical event. We have backstage, we have webinar, and then several other marketing like landing pages, Google AdWords integration to whatnot, right? So you have, for every channel that we have a tool, a dedicated deep tool. To pull everything together, there is marketing automation. Previously called Marketing Hub. We are renaming that to Marketing Automation, where you pull all these marketing channels together and orchestrate, a good your marketing campaign. Now we are saying, why don't you combine all of this and offer it as a package? So we are launching Zoho Marketing Plus on that front. You'll hear more about it on that front, which is a suite of all marketing applications offered together. That all of these tools will not only talk to each other, but will talk to our CRM app as well. And once it talks to your CRM, then that information will flow to various other applications as well.
So how you see Zoho, in 2022? 50 plus applications. You guys doing a lot. You guys are everywhere. You have a good niche. In the market out there. You're getting recognitions everywhere. Not only pricing recognition, but brand recognition. Depending who you look at it, you compete with everybody, and you don't compete with everybody. How you see the 2022 for you guys?
There is an internal and external. Internally, we are laying the foundation. We have an excellent team in Mexico, and we will be doubling down on that. We'll be expanding to Colombia and later this year, and then hopefully next year in Chile. So we'll keep expanding internally. Externally, on the product side, those improvements on the products will keep coming. Investing in local region, meaning in the product supporting all the local aspects. For example, later this year, you'll see Zoho Books Mexico edition launch. That'll be our first one that will integrate with the e-invoicing and whatnot. We started supporting payment gateways and all of those coming. Then there are other aspects, which is raising the brand awareness of Zoho. We have our first Spanish ad ready internally. We are looking forward to running some marketing campaigns in the region, and we are going to be raising and running several marketing campaigns in the region. Now that we have a foundation, we'll do a marketing campaign. One of the reasons we didn't do marketing campaign is when a customer calls, we don't have enough people to pick up the phone. So we had a reverse problem. So now we are building the teams, we are laying the foundation, and now we'll be doing marketing and then keep expanding the teams.
Yeah, and something that I seen, and being a witness to this, and the same with the service thing. When we contact support, uh, uh, Mexico or I don't know where you have your support team worldwide, we feel that we're having a conversation.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you open a ticket, but you get a conversation. And you guys, for most of the time, you guys you're there. And by the way, let me put this: we have actually this is true. Let me rephrase this: we start with the conversation, and it happens the conversation turns out into a ticket.
Yeah, that's
So
important.
that's it. Let me rephrase that because not everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
And this is with the regular purchase of Zoho One.
There's an important aspect there, Jesus, which is generally in a typical organization, a person's performance, like a support person's performance, is measured by the number of tickets they close. And right, the more you close, the better you are, is the perception. We try to avoid that. It's not the number of tickets you close. Are you keeping the customer happy? Is a measurement. There's no easy way to measure it. That's why we don't place too much importance to that measurement. So that's why the conversation is important, and a ticket will be created later, because tickets is not how someone is measured. It is basically our customer. So your internal metric will translate itself into an external metric or external experience.
So Raju, we have probably like a minute or so. Based on what you mentioned, I'll leave you with the last word. What would you like to say to people out there about Zoho?
No, I think I would like to thank everyone for continued support. It's been, for about a decade, we did not have a local presence. Yet people, from Latin America, we have tens of thousands of 10,000+ customers for a long time. Kind of use Zoho. They realized that they did not have a Spanish support, a Spanish team or whatnot, yet held with us. And I want to thank everyone for supporting it. And I think now we are in a very strong position. We are going to be doubling down in the market, and I'm excited about what's ahead. So I want to thank everyone, the partner ecosystem, the customer ecosystem, of course, our own employees who have been with this process. But now this is where the excitement begins.
Yeah, I got to the point that I feel that I know all of them, because all of them have been, I don't know, probably like 10 or 12 of them have been in the different live streams that I've done last year, and it's impressive what you guys are trying to achieve in the Latin market. So, Raju, don't go. Let me bring over here quickly Tatiana. So, Tatiana, thank you for posting the comments and putting the stuff in Spanish that we're talking. So, Tatiana, what's next for us next week?
Well, Jesus, next week we come back again on Monday with another podcast, on Tuesday with Conversaciones de CRM, and on Friday again with you here in Tomando Café. So see you next week, and follow us on our social media.
Perfect. So now I'm going to switch to Spanish and do the outro. Raju, thank you very much for joining us. Don't go. Tatiana, thank you for, managing everything behind the scenes. Okay, so saying that, ya saben, estamos también, como dijo Tatiana, el regreso el lunes con un podcast. Este va a ser específicamente hablando un poquito de la omnicanalidad, todo este tema de omnicanalidad de customer service versus la de marketing. Vamos a hablar un poquito de eso. Tengo a John Reed el Tuesday, que él es un súper experto de este tema de B2B, con CRM y ERP. Vamos a estar hablando con él también. Ese va a ser como a las 3 de la tarde, no va a ser a las 1. Y el próximo proveedor, no estoy por confirmarlo, pero sí va a estar disponible también para la semana que viene, ¿no? Ya saben, me siguen en conversaciones de CRM, cápsula de Customer Engagement, y esto va a estar disponible en los podcasts. Nos vemos hasta la próxima. Cuídense mucho.